What if they are complimented? This question is in response to a video I posted about neurodivergent kiddos going directly to thinking they're the worst kid ever when they are corrected. Go watch that video. My name is Lindsay. I'm a child therapist and mindful motherhood educator. This is tricky, sticky, and icky. This one's a hard one. So the reason I say that is because there's so many different situations that can come up, and each neurodivergent kiddo is so different. So you need to take your child's needs and considerations into account. This can happen specifically if they have the PDA piece. You can Google that. There's other accounts on it. But if they're complimented and they do have that PDA piece, it can feel like compliments are creating an expectation or a demand. And so they make them uncomfortable and they try and back away from the demand. If you think that that's what's going on with your kiddo, I would suggest not complimenting them and asking them how they feel about themselves or what they are proud of themselves for. Now, then so now we talked about that one. There's the piece where the kids just generally have a low sense of self-esteem if they are neurodivergent. And this is so sad. It has a lot to do with the messaging that society gives kids who are neurodivergent. And I would tell you not to argue with them when they are saying, but I'm not smart, or I don't like calling kids smart, so that was a dumb example to use. Or I'm not good at this, or I'm not a kind person, or whatever it is. I would validate the feeling. It must be really hard to feel that way about yourself, and then focus on that piece of it and focus on connecting with your child. Typically, the more we try as parents to convince them that our kids are one thing, it just becomes a power struggle rather than them actually feeling that way about themselves. Giving them space to talk about how they feel about themselves, or asking them, well, what do you do that does make you feel kind? And helping them do more of those things or focus on those things that make them feel good about themselves. I also love moving more towards neutrality. So if the belief is like I'm mean or I'm not kind, maybe it's that I'm not always the nicest, but it's something that I'm working on. If we can find something that they can buy into, then they're more likely to believe it than if we're sitting around trying to convince our kid that they're the most intelligent, beautiful soul that has ever walked this earth. Because as their parent, we absolutely feel that way about them, but we cannot convince them to feel that way about themselves. And because we're their parent, they think we're just saying that because we're their mom. So just to recap, if there's the PDA piece involved, compliments can feel like expectations or demands. So I would stop complimenting and start asking questions about how certain things make them feel about themselves. If that piece isn't present, then I would not try and power struggle with the negative thought, but I would help them talk about the feelings or emotions that come up with that thought, the positive things that are maybe like the opposite. So if they don't feel kind, what things can you do, or when do you feel the most kind? What things can you do then?